Okay, so try number 2. This is the part 2 to, what was I calling it? My clinical trial, CGM something. I don't know if I'm gonna sound depressed or not, if I'm gonna sound like I'm about to cry. I'm really just like, I don't even know what in the world anymore, but I kind of been stopped knowing what in the world. But like, I don't know. I guess maybe I'm going through heartbreak, maybe I'm not. I stopped feeling emotion centuries ago, but then it's kind of like, sometimes I still do, but I don't know. Then I'm kind of dissociated because I can't really see. I ate some Tootsie Rolls or whatever they're called earlier that this lady had gave me a couple of. Well, no, actually before that, it was the peanut butter sandwich, and then everything kind of got drifty. But anywho, I'm kind of like feeling a little heartbroken, but it's kind of like, I mean, I want to say it's my fault because I want somebody to blame for something. And it's like, if I blame myself, then I feel like I have control over my life when I don't. Anyhow. So, if I sound like I'm about to burst out crying, then that's why, but maybe I won't, but I don't even know, man. Anyways, because that's what I had wrote. Not because I'm just saying that is like I usually do. But I know I left off on, funny enough, when I have spikes every once in a while, it makes me have to pee less. I said that, and then it reminds me of when my IC and spine pain / supposed DDD would get worse when my blood sugar was low in the past. And then I wrote, anyways, it got cold again at night on the 23rd, 10 p.m. So I went to IHOP since it was a few minutes from my camp to sit in there. I wanted to get something so I can sit inside. I should have got a water, because I got a hot chocolate at 10 p.m. and drunk some of it, not even all of it. I never even finished it. And at 11:42 p.m., my BS was 205, and at 11:57, it went to 215. It eventually went to 217 or higher, if I'm remembering right. And I know, or at least I think I talked about in the part 1, how like at 16 I pretty much lived at an IHOP, and like pretty much like their food has like a lot of chemicals and carbs and preservatives. I don't know if any of that came out right. And so like it just always has spiked my blood sugar, and I really don't even eat fast food anymore. But I feel like that's also kind of why like I can't even do all the tests that I really want to do that I really wanted to do when I did have a CGM, because like in my previous situation I had to eat like a lot of things that caused a lot of issues, and even in Cali I had to like eat a lot of pasta sometimes because of like the vegan stuff they had going on there. And like I really want to know what my blood sugar goes up to and even crashes to when I have to like eat certain things or be in certain environments, but I'm not having to eat those things or be in those environments anymore where like I'm constantly like running from the police because people call them all the time, or I'm constantly like having to do a lot more walking than I have to now. So I mean, it's a good thing that I'm not having to do those things anymore and eat those things, but I do wonder what like my blood sugar used to be at then. I didn't have to pee back to back as much all night, although I did stay in IHOP till after 11 p.m. And on the 24th, I did have to pee at 12:37 a.m. and I can't really see, and 3 a.m. I had to pee 12 times on the 23rd, but that was all before the hot chocolate thing. And before I finished that, I was gonna say that, like, I guess I kind of technically recently did, like, another CGM type thing. Cause, like, I'm way too dissociated. But, I've been taking less HCl and enzymes. And like I mentioned in the part 1, before I started taking all that, like, I had all types of stuff going on, bloating, waking up at 3 a.m. with diarrhea. I don't think I mentioned that in the part 1. I know I mentioned that in plenty of videos in the mitochondrial dysfunction playlist. Like, that used to be really bad, waking up at 3 a.m. with diarrhea and having to throw up. And then I also used to have, like, IC, and I had to, like, pee all the time then. But when I started taking the HCl and enzymes, it stopped. But, like, a little, I don't know how long ago, but however long ago, like, the IC started to get worse because of it. And so now I've been taking less for, like, some days, and I see that, like, that helps with the IC and having to pee all the time. But one of the things with that is because, like, better digestion, I can't remember exactly, but it causes more mast cell issues sometimes and more histamine release, and I can't really remember. And so, yes, like, kind of even like when I used to have the colon pain all the time, back when I started, like, fixing my digestion, even before I started fixing it. It's kind of like, you fix some things, but then it can cause other side issues. That's a long story. So then, for the next bullet point, I put learned, and then, even while I was in my abuse situation, being gaslit about my blood sugar and everything else, I noticed I always had to pee, even if I drank nothing or just water. So it had to be more due to carbs. And that was even before I had the interstitial cystitis type stuff and other pelvic floor issues. Like, I had to pee a lot. And the next bullet point, I remember the symptom of diabetes / hypothalamus dysfunction is electrolyte issues. I remember this one doctor who hated my dad and was working with my mom to keep my dad from ever seeing me again. Once I moved to my mom at 12 and started going through the Cash for Kids system. Hold up, where was I? Seeing me again and knowing where I was. Long story. Because I can't really see this, I'm not gonna lie, but my vision is kind of blurry in general. Because because he came to this one appointment about my iatrogenic bowel impactions. And I remember this actually because he was already at the hospital because he had, like, a lot of heart issues and stuff. And so he was already there for his own appointment. And so he ended up coming to see me. And I was locked up during this, I think, but I can't really remember. But I was allowed to go to an appointment since it was at the same hospital. And so, anywho, I was being gaslit about, my iatrogenic bowel impactions I was being gaslit about. A little before I started getting told my dad didn't exist and he was a black schizophrenic delusion because black people don't have dads. Yeah, that's another side story, to be honest. This doctor hated my dad and would talk to my mom about him. And I even remember she was like, she felt like I acted better with my dad or something. Just like the Willow Syndrome house nigger Jezebelic mom stuff, and then siding with the white supremacist doctor. That's what that was. And that's like, that could be its own video. I used to talk about this more in the evidence channels, but I know I definitely mentioned this because I rewatched the video. I definitely mentioned this in my video about how psychotropic quote-unquote weight gain is diabetes. I mentioned this lady. Even though I had just moved in with my mom and had lived with my dad my whole life before this started. Next bullet point. And then I put point. I was being told everything was my fault because I was dehydrated. I said I drink lots of water and all day because I was always thirsty and it's the only thing I drink. the evil bowel doctor, I don't even really remember what she was. I think she was a nurse, but I don't even know. Rolled her eyes. Anywho, due to that, in the 30 plus day periods from the hyperprolactinemia and the high A1C at the time, every time I would go to the doctor or was about to be sent to a cash for kid system placement, I'd have to be put on water IVs. And I believe like the frequent urination that also like dehydrated the colon, because that can happen too, but that's hard to explain. I'd always have to be put on water IVs and blood transfusions for hours. And then of course with diabetes, that makes you dehydrated and all types of stuff. Or 24 plus hours, which I talk more about this in my 2020 psychotropic, my 2020 psychotropic side effect remake re-uploads, which has a part 1 and part 2. This was early cash for kids system abuse way before I was let off the drugs at early 14 and dropped down 80 pounds. I was only on the drugs from mid-12 to early 14, which is why, due to the brain damage, I remember nothing from age 13 except the 2 to 3 abuse evidence videos I have from then on the evidence channels back when I had the part 1 channel before CPS snitched about it and got the part 1 and 3 channel deleted. And also, my main Gmail since 10 was hacked. Or not even really hacked. My relatives, they got into it and then, they got into my phone and then they got into that to, like, keep me from getting back into some of the evidence. Because, like, that email wasn't tied to one of the abuse evidence channels, but I did have, like, a lot of videos saved to that. Anywho, but I've been researching a lot since then to figure out how to fix my iatrogenic illness even before it got horrible at 14. I've circled back around to metabolic issues and diabetes, which is of course due to the brain damage. I'm focusing on the hypothalamus and how to fix that. Many people get all types of autoimmune issues like lupus, metabolic/cancer. Maybe my blood sugar is low, but I don't even know. And that's the thing, like, still even now it's hard to really tell, like, what's low blood sugar and, like, what's just, like, dysautonomia type stuff. POTS, colitis, colon cancer, etc. I think I already said that, but I don't know. I remember before I fixed my digestion, people thought I had one of those, but nope. People used to think that I had, like, colon cancer, ulcers, what's the other thing called? I might have already said diverticulitis. Honestly, I probably did get that from the bowel impactions, but not even that, though. Something else. Crohn's. Yeah, that's what it was. It was Crohn's or something else. I know a couple people thought I had that. I know somebody thought I had Lyme disease, and I think I mentioned in the part 1 how, like, in the little 3 months of school I went to, some people, and, like, even the teachers, some of them thought I had I'm not gonna lie, I'm really dissociated. I think my blood sugar is low, so I can't really remember what in the world I was talking about, but it was something, what was it called? I don't know, I mentioned it in the part 1. So let me just keep going, because I don't want this to be too long. So next bullet point, weight gain. Not calorie related, as I go over in the mitochondrial dysfunction playlist. I also mentioned someone telling a girl that if she didn't get her BS under control, she'd never be able to gain weight because of glucose trapping fat inside the cell and having to to push or tell it something to get it into somewhere. Something with biochemistry that I don't really remember how to explain, but that may not even be the thing in my situation, but I mean, I'm pretty sure, I mean, that could be part of it, but like, I guess like due to the iatrogenic metabolic issues, I think I kind of mentioned some of this in my video that is also titled Puberty is a Lie. I probably put that in the title too, but like, I'm just too used to like functioning on low pretty much. I'm not gonna lie, I'm shaking really bad. It was totally that peanut butter sandwich. I typically don't even eat bread, but the lady gave it to me and I was like already pretty like dizzy because it was really hot earlier. Hold up. No, I didn't finish reading that. Okay. So, as I've been concluded, I can't use fat or protein on a cellular level, maybe more brain damage and mitochondria related than insulin and pancreas. This is also why I can't run on fat and protein and only carbs, because my body can't use it. So yeah, like the whole keto thing, like there's so much I could say about that, but I definitely know in the mitochondrial dysfunction playlist and even like a lot of unlisted videos I have from even when I tried to like figure out how to cook on a grill and how to start a fire to like do the carnivore diet. Another long story, but like none of that really works because I can't break down fat or protein, and then like eating a lot of protein and fat or just like really, I don't know, I guess it causes like too much of a blood sugar spike, or either it pushes my blood sugar too low. It's hard to really tell because I didn't have like a CGM or even the finger prick, obviously, when I was doing that in 2024 trying to, but it just causes too many issues and too much pain and spine pain or worse than spine pain and bladder pain, and that's really like a lot of stuff, but it just doesn't work, and I can't function or run off of a like fat or protein anyways. Like I know people with, I guess, like the diabetes diagnosis, they're told to like eat more fat and protein and stuff like that, but it doesn't work for me because I can't function off of it, so I'm still having lows, so it's kind of whatever. So the next bullet point. In other vids, I talk about how the arthritis and DDD/degenerative disc disease came about and worsened by August 2024 when I was on sleeping bent on a hill. I believe due to is this supposed to say kidney? I don't know what this says. Stuff and diabetes and intestinal issues since 12 and calcium stripping due to malnutrition. I know spine issues can also compress nerves and cause issues with like digestion as well, so that can maybe add to it, but anywho, next bullet point. Also, this can lead to dementia and Alzheimer's and schizo and supposed bipolar and other diabetes and / neurological issues, or well, pretty much diabetes of the brain. I have a vid about resonating with a 360 dementia simulator video, and I talk about how they say people with dementia see the world like the blurriness and stuff. I do get like that sometimes, but I also now know that that's also due to like the dysautonomia type stuff and not even always like the low blood sugar, but just functioning on low. And as people may know, like diabetes can cause like nerve damage and other stuff. So I'm totally gonna have to like get something else to eat. No, that was it, I think. Wait a minute. Yeah, that was it. And then another thing I just thought about that I could throw in, I had to like pause to eat a Slim Jim, and also to look for this other page because I forgot about this. It's some side notes, but anywho, before I forget, unless I already did. Another thing is that like people say that one thing that can help is not eating too close before like the time you go to sleep. But like, I can't even really do that because I can't stop eating because I have to eat a lot to get through the day and try to not fall asleep, or maybe what I ate is what made me fall asleep. And so like, pretty much I just have to eat a lot. So like that whole try to stop eating before you go to sleep, I can't even do that. I'll be eating like at 3 a.m., at 12 a.m., 6 a.m., 8 p.m. But anywho, this other page that I forgot about during the part 1, I didn't even think I was going to originally put this in the video, and I forgot to say, this is from 3:09 to 3:28. These bullet points and notes. And what I just read was from, wait a minute, hold up. Was from, I ripped out a lot of pages, so I don't even know, but crap, hold up. I'm not gonna lie, I don't know, because I ripped out a lot of pages, which I already talked about, that whole thing, or at least I think I did mention the whole thing with like the police and all that. But also before like, when I'm finishing like a journal, I always rip up the pages before I throw it away, because I don't want any extra bullcrap to try to carry around that I don't need anymore. But anywho, I ran the clinical trial from 2:10 to 2:25, I think, or either the 26th. Yeah, it was 2:10 to the 25th or the 26th, because the CGM lasts like up to 14 days or something like that. Okay, hold up. Okay, so here's some bullet points that may or may not be like a lot of info, but I think it's good for people to know. Because like I remember like my siblings had a lot of issues with this due to just like poor diets in general. And I think I mentioned in the part 1 how like they were all forced on drugs as well, the usual Adderall and all that different psychotropic mess, and the whole bad black boy or bad boy with ADHD stuff and different things like that. I mean, just going along with the abuse situation in general and like the attention seeking Jezebel. But anywho, 3 a.m. Wake ups with gut fermentation, histamine and liver bile release. Okay, so I think I remember this. Waking up at 3 a.m. And I will say that like I do remember watching these videos about like the third watch prayers and stuff like that, and like it would say that like that's why you wake up at 3 a.m. But the more I've done research on a lot of things, the more like this I see the issues and like things with the mainstream medical system and like different spiritual communities. But that's why I said that like really religious people and atheists is really the same thing, but that's a whole other video. But it can even go back into how I listened to a lot of things that weren't helpful in general, that kind of like, they made me think that like something was caused by like other things. But then the more I did research and the more I like started figuring out how to cure my own issues and things would go away, I'd be like, oh well dang, maybe that's not that, I guess, obviously. So anyhow, waking up at 3 a.m. can be due to the gut fermentation, histamine release, and liver or bile release cycle. And of course, if you have like gut motility issues and gastroparesis or whatever, you're gonna have like a lot of bloating and fermentation if you have SIBO and stuff like that. And I know like in the earlier videos of the mitochondrial dysfunction playlist, I'm pretty sure I talked about how like when my digestion went downhill, aside from like all the gas and stuff, and I would have like really bad like bloating issues because I couldn't digest food, and like I'd be bent over, and I feel like that actually added to what made my spine go downhill or start to go downhill quicker, because because like I would be bent over a lot because I couldn't stand up straight, because I would have like muscle, what's it called, cramps, because of like the digestion issues and stuff. And I'd be throwing up, and I'd always have diarrhea. And oh yeah, and I mentioned how like if you ate something at 6 a.m. one day and then you're throwing that up at 12 a.m. or even, I don't know, 12 p.m. the next day, like literally the same thing you ate the day before, you can't digest food, and you also have gastroparesis and stuff. But also, if you're not digesting the food, it's gonna like sit longer and keep trying to digest if you have like low HCl or whatever. But you can have like, I guess, decent HCl production or even supplement and still like have gut motility issues. So yeah, you shouldn't be throwing up something you ate at 6 a.m. like at 9 p.m. or the same day or the next day, which the next day will be even worse. Then the next bullet point, gastrocolic reflex. I think that's what that's supposed to say, because this looks like I kind of like screwed it up a little bit. This can cause all types of bathroom accidents, which can be really, really bad if you're homeless. And I even mentioned how like when I was in Cali, there was like all the drug stuff, and so like people would talk about this thing called heroin SHITs. And so like if you were constipated or you had diarrhea all the time, people would be like, oh, you're just like on heroin. And it's kind of funny though, and that's why I mentioned like it's interesting that I have the same issues but even worse issues than people who are on street drugs. Like it would be better to do heroin and meth than psychotropics, which I mean Adderall is heroin, meth, and cocaine, but anywho, in fact Adderall is stronger than methamphetamines, and all of the psychotropics are worse. I wish honestly that I would rather had done heroin and methamphetamine, to be honest. And then one of the things about it is like when they go to rehab and they get off the drugs, they start to get better and they start to gain weight again. I've still been 80 pounds since 14, so that's kind of like whatever. But and then it's like some of them are like really buff and built too, and it's like I can't even like gain muscle or fat. So it's like I'd rather had done heroin, methamphetamine all at once than to have been forced on psychotropics. And then the next thing is the next bullet point, histamine intolerance, full body itching, and IC. And then of course I have a whole video titled The Truth About Delusional Parasitosis. And I know especially in the description of that video, I go over more things that I think I forgot to mention like in the actual video about like kidney issues and liver issues, because like one of the things that I noticed is like since I couldn't break down fat or protein, I would get itchy after eating it, like when I would eat like real meat and like real cheese and stuff. And so I noticed that like or one day I was like, I wonder what would happen if I like take ox bile like an hour or two after eating it. And I have to take it kind of later after eating due to like the slow gut motility, because it's supposed to like meet the food in I can't remember if it's the small intestine or the large intestine, but anywho, if you have gut motility issues, then like taking supplements can kind of be harder, like the dosing and stuff, because the food isn't where it's supposed to be at the right time. But anywho, I took the oxybile and I noticed like the itching either will go away or it wouldn't happen in the first place. And so sometimes the itching was because of bile, liver issues and stuff. And then I wrote I don't know what HCH was supposed to stand for, but bile acids circulating through the bloodstream due to malabsorption. So bile acid malabsorption can cause itching as well, because the bile acid isn't reabsorbed and it just circulates through the bloodstream, as I kind of just said. SIBO, next bullet point, gut fermentation and leaky gut. I threw that in there. Bacteria, histamine, fermentation, endotoxins that are let off from the different bacterial overgrowths can also cause gas of fermentation. And then the next bullet point, hypothalamus, stress hormone surges during hypoglycemia. And this goes into something where like I can't remember exactly, but like your body releases cortisol and adrenaline or something like that to try to like get your blood sugar to go back up when it's too low. I don't really remember exactly, but anywho, next bullet point. Green stool means rapid transit, bile wasn't reabsorbed, / I cannot see this broken down. And then the next bullet point, I put POTS, circulation issues, SIRS, which this is kind of just like a note, chronic inflammatory response syndrome. Now, SIRS is like one of the first things I did research on back when I was still in Cali. And that was like when I was still going over like the parasite thing and the SIBO and the Helicobacter pylori / H. pylori and different things like that. I forgot about SIRS. 328, waking up starving. And I still wonder about this. Like, I wake up literally every day. I wake up starving like I didn't just eat. But that goes into like the metabolic issues and stuff. And so, then that was everything, I think.